My name is Heather Morjo, and I am diagnosed with schizophrenia. My life expectancy is 65 years old. I am 39 now. I was diagnosed in 2012 after a 66-day certified stay at the Panoka Centennial Hospital for mental illness and brain damage. I estimate that I was in psychosis for about 5 years. Before I got help. The psychosis was onset by an excessive use of cannabis. I smoked it like most people smoke cigarettes. I have been rejected by friends, gaslit, even by a family member. I have had people just walk out of my life as soon as they hear my diagnosis. Can't hold down a job. I struggle to maintain the business I started, the art career that I have, every day. Every day. At one point, a doctor suggested I was attending dialectical behavior therapy for my borderline personality disorder, which is one of my other many diagnoses. And the psychiatrist that I was working with suggested that maybe I wasn't schizophrenic. You know, I was medicated at the time. I was in therapy every week, twice a week. And she said, no, I don't think you're schizophrenic. I think it's just your borderline. But this is what you need to hold on to right now. So that's the way it is. So then I went to a doctor and my psychiatrist after that and said, I don't think I'm schizophrenic. This doctor said I wasn't. So I should probably come off my meds and see if I'm okay. And I was not okay. And I hurt someone. And I have to live with that guilt for the rest of my life. That shame. However long that is. I regularly hear voices talking about me mostly. Not unlike the Truman Show, I constantly feel like there's cameras watching me and people watching me and talking about me. I see things that aren't there. And I take medication every day. You know, the side effects of the medication are this mask-like expression where I look like I've had a stroke. I look like I have no emotion. And honestly, I don't feel much emotion when it's that high of a dose. either that or experience symptoms from time to time, particularly when I'm under stress. I loathe who I am. I have to hide who I am. I'm not allowed to. I don't feel like I'm safe to talk about my mental illness publicly. So I pretend. I mask. I try and appear sane. I try and appear normal. And I constantly live with this feeling of being a fraud, particularly when anything good happens in my life. And I always anticipate that those good things will end. Like relationships, like friendships, like good opportunities. Somehow I'm gonna screw it up. I try to do regular, positive affirmations, telling myself I can do this. I'm worthy of love. I am worthy of good things, yada, yada, yada. But I don't know if I'll ever really believe that. My family is incredibly supportive, my parents and my brother, and the family that know. Some of them aren't. Some of them don't talk to me. They won't be around me. They don't call me on my birthday. They have nothing to do with me. And I feel that as a deep sense of rejection. Worse than the friends who ghost, or worse than the relationships that end. Well, sometimes. Schizophrenia is like autism. It's a spectrum. The severity of symptoms depends on the individual, how long they've been in psychosis, whether or not they're medicated, how well they take their medication, if they're in therapy, how many times they've gone off and on their medication. Some people have positive symptoms, like mine, where it's like hallucinations, delusions. Those are considered positive symptoms because it's adding something. And then there's negative symptoms, which are a blunted affect, where you don't express anything. You're delayed in your reactions. It almost looks like disassociating, right? I don't get those symptoms very often. Lucky for me, I also have borderline personality disorder, which is like cranking up the volume and intensity on every emotion. Everything is extreme, right? So, sadness is despair. Joy is euphoria, right? It's when you love someone, you love them so completely, and when you're rejected or you reject them, they're the worst person in the world. It's all black and white. It's all extreme. There's no gray. There's no middle. why did I decide to make this video today? I've been living with this fear that I would lose everything that I have if I came out and said, this is the mental illness I live with, right? I'm involved in politics. Well, I don't think mentally ill politicians ever get elected or look good on the party. I worry that people won't want to work with me with Foodscape, whether they're clients or volunteers or staff, right? I've worried that I would lose my relationship, make them look bad, so they would want to leave me. I've worried that I would lose friends. Recently I won an art award for healing through the arts. Art is one of the ways that I try and manage my mental illness. And it was actually given an award. They didn't know what mental illness disability I have, but they knew I had one. If you ever meet somebody and they say I have a mental health disability, it's not just a little bit of anxiety. It's not just a little bit of depression. It is a life debilitating mental illness. And today I put up a post that said, I'm proud of the things that I've accomplished. And sometimes I am, for a moment. But most of the time I'm just fighting to stay even keel, right? Most of the time I'm beating myself up emotionally for not being normal. My symptoms, suck. It comes up when I'm extremely stressed or not getting enough sleep. Like tonight at 2:22 a.m. I've called the police because I've heard something horrible happening to somebody. I was convinced it was real. And the police go over there and there's nothing. I hear horrible things happening to animals and people and children, and it seems so real. So real. But I can't tell. Sometimes I can tell. I can tell it's most likely not real that my neighbors across the way have a camera pointed into my bedroom and record everything I say. That's probably not real. But it feels real. Symptoms started when I was a teenager, but I didn't know what was going on. I got my first diagnosis in 2001, and they said I had chronic depression, PTSD, OCD, and generalized anxiety. And so I worked with those diagnoses for 12 years, right? And at some point, I thought, oh, well, cannabis seems to be helping people with their anxiety. So I'm just going to go off of these antidepressants and try doing cannabis instead, not knowing that I had an underlying mental health condition that was exacerbated by cannabis. And sometimes I look around the world right now, I'm like, cannabis was legalized, and now all these people are into these really weird conspiracies. Like I was into weird conspiracies when I was in psychosis, and they're buying into these ideas like white supremacy is a good idea. And I can't help but wonder how many people might actually just be in psychosis from cannabis. Obviously not all of them, but some of them might be. I was very into conspiracy theories when I was in psychosis. They seemed very real and plausible. I looked for hollow earth entrances. That seemed like a good idea, and tangible and real. And sometimes I want to write my story out and tell the world everything I experienced because I remember it the way I remember my dreams, and I remember my dreams very vividly. But the number of people that actually care what it's like to live with this mental illness is low. The number of people it might help is negligible. Right? So I haven't finished writing anything. I've started and stopped a million times. I just have so much self-loathing for who I am. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hating who I am. And so there was a part of me that said, you know what? Think of it like when you came out as queer, right? There was a part of me that felt weird and felt different. And then when I came out, I found people who affirmed me and I found people who didn't. But at least I didn't hate myself for who I was anymore. Not for that. And I don't want to feel this anymore. I don't want to have to hide who I am. I want people to look at me and say, wow, look at what she's accomplished with all she has to deal with. Look at the art she made. Look at the company she's trying to build. And all that while she's battling the symptoms of schizophrenia. But I know that instead I will probably get people who say, that's not what schizophrenia looks like. She's just faking. I will have people who won't want to talk to me anymore. I'll have people who will weaponize this against me and say I'm just crazy. I know that's what will happen when I post this. But it's either that or I continue to live hiding who I am for the rest of my life and feeling this hate for myself. I don't think I could do that much longer. So here we go. during that time where I thought that my diagnosis was wrong, I was a surrogate. Probably shouldn't have been. By their medical standards, I was fine. Baby was fine. It's not transmitted that way. But I know darn well that if I told them what was really diagnosed of me, I wouldn't have been able to do that. In fact, I think I might have failed my first psych evaluation when I joined the surrogacy agency, because I had to do it twice. And that's on me, not on them. I really wanted to do it. It was a life dream of mine. And so I told them the 2001 diagnosis is, not the 2012. I don't think I'm a very likable person, despite what the internet seems to think. I think I'm very aggressive. I see the negative first. I see what's wrong with the world, the injustice and the things that are going wrong. And part of my delusion is thinking that I'm here to help, to fix it. One in 100 people have schizophrenia. Oftentimes they will experience their delusion so strong that they will not reach out for help because they believe that they are gifted in some special way. And that if they get help, the doctors will take away their power, which is dangerous to believe that. There's a movement called Mad Pride. And the whole premise of it is that our psychiatric system is based off of the idea that we should eliminate mental illness, that we should fix it. You know, that the experiences of mentally ill people are defective, right? And so therefore should be treated as a problem and eliminated as best as possible, with very little success. Psychiatric medication has not cured anything for anyone. Mad Pride initiates the conversation that people who have mental illness aren't broken. That's just the way we are. And there is this idea that maybe there's a world where our madness is not a problem, is not a defect. It's just part of who we are. You know, maybe it's the gift that gives John Nash the ability to be a brilliant mathematician. Maybe it's the gift that gives me the ability to create artwork. Who knows? We won't know because this society is so fixated on demonizing mental illness that we live in shame and hide, right? And That sucks. It's hard. It's killing us. It's killing us. To hide. To be stigmatized. To be shamed. To feel guilt for the things that have happened when we're sick. And not know where to get help for those things. Lots of people with schizophrenia take drugs to kill the pain and the symptoms. That's why so many are living on the streets, addicted, homeless, struggling. And that's not going to change as long as it's stigmatized. As long as the world tells me that I'm sick and broken and defective, and I don't deserve a good home, and I don't deserve to feel well, and I'm a drain on society if I have to get disability to survive. As long as that system, which is perpetuated by a conservative narrative, continues, this is the way the world's gonna look. Okay, half an hour later. Thank you for listening. I don't know what I'm hoping for with this video, except for to end the hiding. To just be me, just be real, my true self. Warts and all.